In the quiet hum of a desert airbase, under a sky painted with the soft pinks and oranges of dawn, Captain Emily Harper stared at her reflection in the cockpit glass. She was 32, with sun-kissed freckles across her nose and hair tied back in a practical ponytail. They called her a desk pilota, a nickname that stung like sand in the wind. For years, she'd commanded from behind screens and maps, coordinating flights but never leading one herself. Today, though, something felt different. The air carried a whisper of change, and Emily wondered if she was ready to answer it. Emily had grown up in a small town in Texas, where the endless skies called to her like old friends. Her father, a retired Air Force mechanic named Jack, used to take her to air shows, pointing out the sleek jets slicing through the clouds. "One day, that'll be you up there, kiddo," he'd say, his voice rough but warm. She believed him then, joined the academy straight out of high school, aced her training, and earned her wings. But life had a way of grounding dreams. A minor injury during a routine flight kept her from combat rotations. Instead, she excelled in logistics, planning missions with precision that saved lives from afar. Her squadron respected her mind, but the whispers never stopped. "Desk pilot," it echoed in the mess hall, in the briefing rooms, like a label she couldn't shake. The base was a sprawling outpost in the Middle East, surrounded by endless dunes that shifted with the breeze. Mornings were calm, the heat not yet risen to scorch the earth. Emily's days blended into one another, reviewing intel reports, plotting routes, ensuring fuel and ammo were ready. Her team, the 47th Fighter Squadron, was a tight-knit group of pilots. Major Tom Riley, the grizzled leader with a laugh like thunder, Lieutenant Sarah Klein, sharp-eyed and quick-witted, and Sergeant Mike Dawson, the young hotshot always pushing limits. They flew F-16s into hostile skies, striking targets with surgical accuracy. Emily admired them, envied them even, but she stayed on the ground, her flights limited to simulations. One evening, as the sun dipped low, casting long shadows over the hangars, Emily sat in her office. The room was sparse, a metal desk cluttered with maps, a flickering computer screen, and a photo of her family back home. Her mom, Linda, smiling in the garden, her brother, Chris, with his kids. The relatable ache of missing them hit her often, especially on quiet nights. She sipped black coffee, poring over the latest briefing. Intelligence reports warned of increased enemy activity in the northern sector, a rugged valley laced with anti-aircraft nests. The squadron was scheduled for a dawn strike, but something nagged at her. The weather models showed incoming storms, unpredictable winds that could turn a routine mission deadly. "Captain Harper?" A voice pulled her from her thoughts. It was Tom, leaning in the doorway, his flight suit zipped halfway, helmet under his arm. "You look like you've seen a ghost." She forced a smile, just double-checking the routes. "Those valleys are tricky," he nodded, stepping inside. "We trust your plans, Em. You've got us through worse without a scratch." But the words felt hollow. Later that night, as she lay in her bunk, the base lights humming softly outside, doubt crept in. Was she really helping, or just hiding? The problem was relatable, familiar to anyone who'd ever felt sidelined, wanting to contribute more, to prove themselves beyond the safety of routine. Emily tossed and turned, the desert wind whispering through the vents like a lullaby that wouldn't soothe. The next morning arrived with a gentle haze, the air cool and still. The squadron geared up, engines roaring to life as the F-16s taxied to the runway. Emily stood on the tarmac, clipboard in hand, watching them lift off one by one. Tom's voice crackled over the radio. "Eagle lead to control. We're airborne. Thanks for the roadmap, desk pilot." The nickname landed like a soft punch, but she brushed it off, focusing on the monitors in the operations center. Hours passed slowly, the room filled with the low buzz of radios and clicking keyboards. Emily paced, her boots echoing on the concrete floor. The mission was progressing smoothly at first. Targets acquired, strikes confirmed. But then, static filled the airwaves. "Eagle 3 to base. We've got incoming SAMSA surface-to-air missiles. Evading now." Her heart quickened. Sarah's voice, steady but strained. The storm had hit earlier than predicted, cloaking the valley in swirling dust. Visibility dropped to near zero. "Eagle lead here. Formation scattered." Klein's heat a wing damage. "She's losing altitude." Emily froze, the room blurring around her. Mike chimed in, I can't get a lock on her position. Too much interference. The tension rose like the slow build of a wave. Emily's mind raced through options. Ground rescue was impossible in enemy territory. It would take hours to mobilize. Air support from allies was too far out. She glanced at the spare F-16 in the hangar, fueled and ready for emergencies. Her hands trembled slightly as she gripped the radio. Base to Eagles. Hold position if possible. I'm coming up. A pause. Then Tom's voice. Emily? What do you mean? I'm flying in. I can navigate that star. I've run the sims 100 times. Laughter crackled through, mixed with disbelief. Desk pilot taking to the skies? You sure about this, Harper? She wasn't, but the alternative via losing her team was worse. The operations crew stared as she suited up, her flight suit feeling foreign after so long. The helmet clicked into place, visor reflecting her determined eyes. Climbing into the cockpit, the familiar controls greeted her like old memories. Engines ignited with a deep rumble, vibrating through her bones. As the jet rolled down the runway, lifting into the air, a sense of freedom washed over her, smooth, exhilarating. The flight north was a gentle ascent, the desert below unfolding like a golden blanket. Clouds gathered ahead, dark and brooding. Emily's voice was calm over the comms. Eagles, this is Harper inbound. ETA 15 minutes. Klein, report your status. Sarah's response was weak, hydraulics failing, holding altitude, but not for long. Emily pushed the throttle, the jet slicing through the turbulence. The storm enveloped her, winds buffeting the wings like invisible hands. She relied on instruments, her training kicking in. Memories of her father's stories fueled her tales of pilots who braved the unknown. The atmosphere thickened, emotional depth settling in as she thought of her squadron, her family in the air. They weren't just colleagues, they were brothers and sisters in arms, relying on each other. Rising tension gripped the narrative as enemy radar pinged her approach. Incoming contacts, she muttered, banking sharply to evade. Missiles streaked past, explosions blooming in the distance like distant fireworks. Her breath came in measured pauses, the cockpit a cocoon of focus. Mike, cover my 6. Tom, flank left. I'm going for Sarah. The valley loomed, a maze of rocky outcrops shrouded in dust. Emily descended, her jet dancing through the chaos. Sarah's F-16, trailing smoke, spiraling slowly. I've got visual. Klein, match my vector. I'll guide you out. But the twist came gently, unforeseen yet inevitable. As Emily aligned her jet, a hidden anti-aircraft gun opened fire. Tracers lit the sky, one clipping her tail. Alarms blared, the controls shuddering. Harper's hit. Tom yelled. Panic threatened, but Emily steadied herself. This was her breakthrough. With the moment the desk pilot became the hero. Drawing on every simulation, every late-night study, she stabilized the aircraft. Not today, she whispered. Maneuvering with precision, she positioned her jet as a shield, drawing fire while Mike and Tom provided cover. Sarah's voice broke through. I'm Clara, heading home. The squadron rallied, their formation tightening like a protective net. Emily's damaged F-16 limped through the storm, enemies falling back under suppressing fire. The return flight was a slow exhale, tension easing as the base came into view. They landed one by one, engines winding down to silence. On the tarmac, the team gathered. Tom clapped her on the back, his eyes shining. Desk pilot, hell, you're the real deal, Emily. Sarah hugged her tightly. You saved us. Thank you. Mike grinned. Never doubting you again, Captain. As the sun set, painting the sky in warm hues, Emily stood alone for a moment, helmet in hand. The emotional grounding came in waves of pride, relief, a quiet acceptance. She'd proven herself not just to them, but to her own doubts. Back in her office later, she called home. Dad, it's me. I flew today. Really flew. His voice cracked with emotion. I knew you would, kiddo. I always knew. The story closed with insight. In the quiet spaces between duty and dream, true courage emerges not from the skies, but from within. And perhaps, for those listening, a gentle call to action: embrace your own hidden wings, step beyond the desk, and soar when the moment calls.